कस्तूरी तिलकं ललाटपटले वक्षस्थले कौस्तुभम् नासाग्रे वर्मौक्तिकं करतले वेणुकरे कङ्कणम् सर्वाङ्गे हरिचन्दनं सुललितम् कंठे च मुक्तावली गोपास्त्री परिवेष्टितो विजयते गोपालचूरामणि वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Mahapuran. Let us go back to the previous slide, and we are in the chapter. Today's chapter is the marriage of Sri Krishna and Rukmini. Let me just check the chapter number. So, yes, it is chapter 54. So, in the 51st chapter, there was the episode of Kalyavan, how he woke up Muchukund and he was completely burnt. So Muchukund is a great personality who had this curse, and then he had glorified the Lord. And in the chapter 52, there is the story of Sri Krishna returning to Dwarka and the marriage of Sri Balramji with Revati. And then in that chapter itself, we got to know about the Brahmin who comes to Sri Krishna in Dwarka carrying a message from Rukmini ji, whose father is getting her married, and her brother Rukmi is very keen that she should get married to his friend Shishupal. And in the 53rd chapter, we learned that after reading the Brahmin's message, Shri Krishna reaches the kingdom of Rukmi, and Rukmini is forcibly snatched, kidnapped, and then brought by Shri Krishna. Today we will read the 54th chapter, which is Krishna marries Rukmini. So, yeah. But before we go into the chapter, let us begin with a bhajan. तुम मेरे थे मेरे हो मेरे रहोगे बहकू ना अब बहकाने से. So, Bhaiya will read the English translation and then we will sing this bhajan. Radhe Radhe.
Radha Radhe, devoted to Sri Krishna, you were, are, and will always be mine. No longer can your Maya deceive me. Since my intellect is drowned in love, it is useless to explain anything otherwise to me. You are my one and only treasure to my life, and I offer body, mind, and wealth to you. O beloved, the pain of separation that will destroy the self conceit from my heart. The gold of my heart will become more purified by passing through the fire of separation. O divine flute player, whether or not you reveal your divine form, I will keep crying out for you. Your torment will make my love increase with every passing moment. Embrace me just once, I will sacrifice my all on you. My beloved, I seek only your love, but I have not been brought a vessel in which you contain your love. Embrace me just once, I will sacrifice my all on you. Embrace me if you want, kill me if you desire, or torment me by giving me separation. I will keep singing your glory. One day my love will show its true colors, and it will torment you as you are tormenting me. Please be informed that I am a Gopi of Varsana and a Sakhi, close friend of Radharani. You may as well accept defeat lest love get a bad reputation. Since you have always been defeated, this time also you will have to lose the game. You will definitely regret putting on airs.
Radhe Radhe. So let me sing a couple of stanzas, and then if you wish, bhaiyas can sing, Anjan ji and Vijay ji. तुम मेरे थे मेरे हो मेरे रहोगे, तुम मेरे थे मेरे हो मेरे रहोगे, बहकुना अब बहकाने से, तुम मेरे थे मेरे हो मेरे रहोगे, बहकूना अब बहकाने से, जब जब समझ प्रेम में, जब समझ प्रेम में डूब गई, तब क्या होगा समझाने से, जब जब समझ प्रेम में डूब गई, तब क्या होगा समझाने से, तुम मेरे थे मेरे हो मेरे रहोगे। तुमको ही तन मन धन अर्पण, तुमको ही तन मन धन अर्पण, तुम ही एक मेरे जीवन धन, तुम ही एक मेरे जीवन धन, तुमको ही तन मन धन अर्पण, तुम ही एक मेरे जीवन धन, अब पीछे नहीं, अब पीछे नहीं हटेगा पग पिय, विरह चोट उर खाने से, अब पीछे नहीं हटेगा पग पिय, विरह चोट उर खाने से, तुम मेरे थे मेरे हो मेरे रहोगे। दे दो ऐसी विरह वेदना, मिट जाए मम अहम चेतना, दे दो ऐसी विरह वेदना, मिट जाए मम अहम चेतना, दे दो ऐसी विरह वेदना, मिट जाए मम अहम चेतना, और अधिक चमकेगा सोना, पुनि पुनि अग्नित पाने से, और अधिक चमकेगा सोना, पुनि पुनि अग्नित पाने से, तुम मेरे ते में हो मेरे रहोगे। आया ना मुरली वारे, रो रो कर, रो रो कर, रो रो कर हम तुम्हें पुकारे। आया ना मुरली वारे, रो रो कर हम तुम्हें पुकारे। आया ना ओ मुरली वारे, रो रो कर हम तुम्हें पुकारे। आया ना ओ मुरली वारे, रो रो कर हम तुम्हें पुकारे। आया ना ओ मुरली वारे, रो रो कर हम तुम्हें पुकारे। प्रेम बढ़ेगा छिन छिन मेरा, यूं तेरे तड़पाने से। प्रेम बढ़ेगा छिन छिन मेरा, यूं तेरे तड़पाने से। तुम मेरे थे मेरे, हो मेरे रहोगे। Bhaiya, if you wish to sing, please sing the next stanza.
पिया तुमसे ही प्रीत लगाई, प्रिय तुमसे ही प्रीत लगाई, पर झोली भी संग नहीं लाई। प्रिय तुमसे ही प्रीत लगाई, पर झोली भी संग नहीं लाई। एक बार लगा लो सीने से, एक बार लगा लो सीने से, बलिहार जाऊं अपनाने से। एक बार लगा लो सीने से, बलिहार जाऊं अपनाने से। मैं तुम मेरे थे मेरे हो मेरे रहोगे। चा चाहे मम आलिंगन कर लो, चाहे मम प्राणन ही हर लो। चाहे मम आलिंगन कर लो, चाहे मम प्राणन ही हर लो। चाहे जी भर कर तड़पा लो, चाहे जी भर कर तड़पा लो। मोहि काम साम गुन गाने से, तुम मेरे
मेरे थे मेरे, हो मेरे रहोगे। वह गुना अब बहकाने से, जब समझ प्रेम में डूब गई तब क्या होगा समझाने से। तुम मेरे थे मेरे, हो मेरे रहोगे। एक दिन प्रेम रंग लाएगा, पिय तुमको भी तड़पाएगा। एक दिन, एक दिन प्रेम रंग लाएगा, पिय तुमको भी तड़पाएगा। एक दिन प्रेम रंग लाएगा, पिय तुमको भी तड़पाएगा। मैं हूँ सखी किशोरी जू की, नाता मम बरसाने की। मैं हूँ सखी किशोरी जू की, नाता मम बरसाने की। तुम मेरे ते में नाता मम बरसाने से तुम मेरे ते मेरे वो मेरे रहोगे। तुम हार मान लो बनवारी, तुम हार मान लो बनवारी, बदनाम न हो जाए यारी, बदनाम न हो जाए यारी। तुम हार मान लो बनवारी, बदनाम न हो जाए यारी। हारोगे हारे हो सब दिन, हारोगे हारे हो सब दिन, पछताओगे इतराने से। हारोगे हारे हो सब दिन, पछताओगे इतराने से। तुम मेरे ते मेरे हो मेरे रहोगे। बकुना अब बहकाने से, जब समझ प्रेम में डूब गई तब क्या होगा समझाने से। तुम मेरे थे मेरे हो मेरे रहोगे। श्रीमद सद्गुरु सरकार की जय। श्रीमद युगल सरकार की जय। जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे। Our koti koti pranam to the lotus feet of Sri Hari and Sri Guru. Our koti koti pranam to Swami Mukundanandji. My humble pranam to each one of you. And now let us read from the chapter 54, Canto 10, from Srimad Bhagavad Mahapuran. In the second chapter of the first canto, there is a question by Parikshit Maharaj to Shukdev Goswami that Parikshit Maharaj is on a Bhagavad Katha Saptah, hearing the Katha, and he wants to know from Shukdev ji that what is the dharma for a person who is aware about his imminent death. Like Parikshit Ji Maharaj, he knows that within 7 days, the Takshat will come and finish his life. He has been cursed by Shringi Rishi, the son of Shamik Rishi, by mistake and by the delusion, by the effect of Kali. Parikshit Ji had put a dead snake in the neck of Shamik Rishi, who was meditating. He was very thirsty. He got angry when Shamik Rishi did not respond. He put the dead snake on his neck, and the news went to his son Shringi, and he cursed that Parikshit Maharaj will die in 7 days by the bite of the Takshat serpent. So Parikshit Maharaj is fully aware about his imminent death. Actually, he was so potent and capable that he could have challenged the decision. Even Shringi's father Shamik did not want his son to make such a curse, but then Parikshit Maharaj accepted the verdict, and he decided he will accept the verdict and he will give up his body. Within 7 days, the Takshat will come and bite him. So the Katha began. Shukdev ji appeared from nowhere. He was only 16 years old, without clothes. He is the son of Vyasadev ji. He is the avatar of the Lord, mysterious personality, and he has started delivering Bhagavad Katha. So one of the questions was, what should a dying man be doing for his greatest welfare? How should he overcome the fear of death? And the answer was that Shrotabyam Kirtitabyam asmartabhyam chechitabhyam, that a person who is close to his death should chant the name of the Lord, should hear the glories of the Lord, and should remember the Lord. So Shrotabhyam, Kirtitabhyam, and Asmartabhyam. This is called Tridha Bhakti. However, if we are chanting and if we are not remembering the Lord, that chanting is useless. Or if we are glorifying the Lord mechanically and not remembering, that glorification is useless. The Lord doesn't get impressed. So remembrance is the most potent tool. So if somebody is only remembering, not even chanting, not even glorifying, that is the method. But when we chant and when we glorify, it becomes easier. For example, right now we are chanting. We are chanting, we are singing the glories, and we are also hearing about the Lord's pastimes. So we are doing kirtan, we are doing shravan, and we are doing a smaranam. If we are remembering the glories of the Lord, we are doing a smaranam. So when my father-in-law passed away 10 days back, and I have witnessed his passing very closely, how we cremated him in the crematorium and how his body went into the Panch Mahatattva, and how we collected his ashes and immersed in the holy river. So everything becomes very crystal clear about the journey of the body. And what about the journey of the soul? The soul, along with the subtle body and the gross and the causal body, the gross body is left behind. Subtle body and the causal body will go into the next life. Gadur Puran says, which I got a copy, and I have promised my father-in-law that I'll try reading it, in this year. Because 1 year, as per Gadur Puran, is the journey of the soul, and 13 day is a special duration in which the Shraddh ceremony, after which is conducted. So we shortened it. We finished the Shraddh ceremony in 4 days. But I will continue to read Bhagavad Mahapuran and Garud Puran. Why I'm bringing a personal experience is that our life is so ephemeral. Our life is so fragile. Any moment, the life can be snuffed out. Yet we are so much oblivious. We have the greatest tool, Bhagavad Katha, and we are so very fortunate that we have a forum in which we can come together and study Bhagavad Mahapuran. But we can imagine, look at the impediments. There are so many hurdles in conducting such katha. There are so many hurdles in uploading the videos and broadcasting the notice, because we are so much caught into the world. And I am not an exception. I'm also a part of the same. So Bhagavad Katha is very, very rare. So we are very fortunate that we are reading this episode, chapter number 54. So let me read a few slides and then I'll pass on the reading text to you all. Please raise your hands if you wish to read. Shukdev ji continues, seeing Rukmini speed off with Krishna, the demoralized and furious kingly friends of Prince Rukmi and Shishupal motivated themselves, and each accompanying with his own army, charged in pursuit of Sri Krishna's chariot to wage a war with him. The Yadav army of Sri Krishna, twanging their bows, welcomed the challenge of war. The enemy then shot a volley of arrows on the Yadav army like how clouds shower rains on mountains. Seeing this scene, Rukmini was a bit apprehensive and her radiant face overcame with fear. Assuring her, Krishna laughingly told her not to fear, as the enemy army would soon be destroyed. Balram and the other Yadavas fought the enemy cavalry, striking them with a special arrow, Narach, iron arrows. Struck with this deadly arrow, the enemy soldiers' heads fell to the ground with their turban, earrings, diamonds intact, the arms, forearms, thighs, feet prayed all over. Even the heads of carriers like horses, mules, elephants, camels, and donkeys were seen. Seeing their army annihilated, Jarasandh and the other kings fled from the battlefield. Seeing the bridegroom, Shishupal, dejected, depressed, and morose, Jarasandh and others told him, O tiger among men, do not be so despondent. There is no permanent joy and sorrow for embodied beings. So Jarasandh is giving the knowledge. So imagine, so about the permanence of the soul and the impermanence of the body, the knowledge is there with the demoniac personalities also, which we also saw in the case of Hiranyakashipu, who gave a big lecture when Hiranyaksh, his brother, was killed. So we should remember that Shishupal and Hiranyaksh and Hiranyakashipu and Dantavakra and Kumbhakarn and Ravan, they are all the original Jay and Vijay who were the gatekeepers in Vakunt. And they had been cursed by Sanat, Sanatan, Sanak, Sanandan, the four Kumars who had gone into the Vakunt. They are the great sages. They are also supposed to be the avatars. So they crossed 6 gates, and in the 7th gate, they were stopped by Jay and Vijay, the gatekeepers in Vakunt, that you all are children, and why are you wanting to meet Lord Vishnu? So the four brothers had got angry and they had cursed that you don't deserve to be in the Vakunt, you must fall into the material world. And then seeing the commotion, Vishnu ji along with Lakshmi ji appeared on the scene and they apologized to the sages, and he sided with the sages that yes, my gatekeepers have misconducted and they must be punished. But let us give them the option. Would they go to the mortal world and be the devotees for 7 lives, or will they be in demoniac form and be there only for 3 lives? So they chose the 3 lives because that was a shorter duration. They wanted to come back in the service to the Lord. So they preferred to become demons. So the same Jai Vijay, they became Hiranyaksh and Hiranyakashipu in Satyug. They became Ravan and Kumbhakarn in Treta Yug, and they became Shishupal and Dantavakra in Dwapar. So we are getting the reference of Shishupal, but we must know who these personalities are. Now in the next slide, similar to a puppet dancing in a show, a living being dances to the tune of destiny and gets joy and sorrow accordingly. Look at me, O Shishupal. Though I with my mighty army was defeated by Krishna 17 times, I never gave up, and it is only that once in the last battle that I could win against him. Verse 10:54-14, Jarasandh consoles Shishupal. Tathapyaham na shochami, तथाप्यहं न शोचमि न प्रहस्यामि कर्हिचित् कालेन दैवयुक्तेन जानन् विद्रावितं जगत्. Yet I never grieve over discomfiture nor exult over victory, knowing as I do the world to be ravaged by time, prompted by God, coupled with destiny. Jarasandh continues, even now the small Yadav army under Krishna's protection has again defeated us, as time is favorable to them now. We shall too have a fortunate time and be victorious. The bridegroom's Bharat of Shishupal and armies then returned back empty-handed, defeated and dejected, each to his own kingdom. Meanwhile, Rukmini's brother Rukmi would have none of it, especially the fact that his sister was taken away by his archenemy Krishna in a Rakshas kind of marriage. Full of indignation and rage, he made a loud vow, heard by all, I will not return to Kundinpura without defeating Krishna and get Rukmini back. So this was his vow, that he will not return to Kundinapur without defeating without defeating Krishna. So number 5. Rukmi then mounted his chariot and ordered the charioteer to follow Krishna, saying, I wish to pierce my sharp arrows onto that evil cowherd who has forcibly taken away my sister. Bragging in this manner, he then sighted Krishna's chariot and shouted at Krishna to stop, and then strung 3 arrows, which then hit Krishna, saying, "Wait a moment, O Yadav disgrace. Like a crow stealing an offering, whereforth are you now going, stealing my sister, O fool? See, in a moment I shall deflate your pride, and it would be better you leave my sister before you fall dead, completely hurt by my arrows." Lord Krishna calmly smiled, strung his bow, and shot 6 arrows, piercing Rukmi, breaking his bow, another 8 towards Rukmi's 4 horses, 2 towards Rukmi's charioteer, 3 towards the emblem on the chariot. Rukmi then responded by shooting 5 shafts towards Krishna. Rukmi then picked up another bow, which Krishna again split into 2. When Rukmi took up another bow, Krishna shot down that too, and thus kept on repeating. Every other weapon that Rukmi then took up, Krishna kept destroying them. Finally, full of rage, Rukmi jumped from the chariot and rushed towards Krishna to attack him with a sword. Just like a moth rushes toward a flame, an ignorant rushing towards its own death, Krishna then split the sword and the sword shield too of Rukmi with his arrows. Finally, to end this fight, Krishna picked up a sword to slay Rukmi. So the fierce battle is going on. And now let's see what happens in the next slide. Seeing this, Rukmini, fearing for her brother's life, fell at Krishna's feet and prayed. Verse 10:54-33. Shri Rukminyu Uvacha Yogeshwara Prameyatman Deva Deva Jagatpate Hantum Narhasi Kalyana Bhrataram Me Mahabhuja. O Master of Yoga, O incomprehensible Lord of the universe, O blessed God of gods, O mighty armed one, you ought not to kill my brother. Shukdevji continues, seeing Rukmini trembling in fear at his feet, her mouth dry and voice choked with grief, and her necklace displaced in nervousness. The merciful Krishna then desisted from his intended purpose. He then tied up Rukmi with his own Rukmi's cloth. Krishna then partially shaved off Rukmi's hair and mustache with his sharp sword, disfiguring Rukmi. So in the picture, you can see there is Rukmi. He has been tied up with his own clothes in the tree. Rukmini is praying to the Lord to spare him because Krishna is wanting to kill him. So he punishes him by shaving his head and mustache. So now we move on to the next slide. On the other side, Balram and the other Yadav warriors had defeated and crushed all the enemy army successfully, like how elephants would crush lotus plants, and came to where Krishna was. Seeing the plight of the shamed Rukmi, Balram was filled with pity, and untying Rukmi, told Krishna, "Oh dear Krishna, this act of shaming an enemy in this way is abhorred and avoided in our Yaduvansh, as it is looked upon as good as killing him." Balram then tells Rukmini, "Oh dear Devi, seeing us fight with your brother, please do not take offense with us due to your brother's plight. No second person is responsible for one's own joy or sorrow. It is the fruits of one's own karma that one gets pleasure or pain." He then tells Krishna why such an evil relative is best drowned rather than killed, as his mind, tormented by his own sin, will keep troubling him. Verse 10:54-41, Balram tells Krishna the causes for his strife in the world. Rajasya bhumer vitash striyo manasya tejasah Rajyasya bhumer vitash striyo manasya tejasa manino nyasya vaheto Srimadandaha chipantihi. The proud alone, who are blinded by pride of fortune, offer indignity to their relatives for the sake of dominion, land, other movable property, women, honor, dignity, or any other consideration. So the episode continues. Now I hand over to Vijayji and Anjanji, Sheilaji to read.
Yeah, probably I can read this. Then Balram ji, in all fairness, tells Rukmani, as per the Kshatriya Dharma, ruled laid by Lord Brahma, at times one may have to kill his brother, which, though being dreadful still, uh, being dreadful still has to be done, and so we are punishing your brother for his own good. You, however, dear Rukmani, are being unfair, acting in ignorance, coming under the Lord's Maya, and want to save your brother who acts against Dharma and your own welfare. Just like a person thinks kindly of those who seems to be his relatives and well-wishers, thinks other to be his enemies who are ill-disposed towards him, neutral to those who are indifferent, and you want your brother to be spared despite his enmity. Balram, Balramji continues advising Rukmani. Just as sun and moon, though steady and constant, appears different with the reflection in different vessels, similarly the source, which is common in all, appears differently in different bodies of creation. A person giving importance to the material body, which is made of five senses, five gross elements, five tanmatras, and three gunas, has a beginning and end. Ignoring the soul within him, and due to the ignorance of this one truth, the person then makes the soul subject to adopt various bodies in continuous cycle of life and death.
Yes, so there is the description about the subtle body, the gross body, and the causal body. We have three bodies: subtle body, Sukshma Sharir; gross body, Asthul Sharir; and causal body, Karan Sharir. In gross body, there are five elements: earth, water, air, fire, space, and earth, water, fire, air, and space. And in the subtle body, there are five pranas: pan, apan, udan, pran, apan, udan, vyan, saman. There are five karmendriyas, there are five gyanendriyas, there is mind, body, mind, ego, and intellect, 18 elements. And in the causal body, there is the stock of karma. So when the gross body is left, when the person is cremated, the person is dead, the soul leaves with the subtle body and the causal body. And depending on the stock of karma, the soul takes up another body. Now, it may be immediate, depending on the decision of the Lord based on his karmas, or it may be after some time is spent in the hellish planet, or some time is spent in the heavenly planets. So that is what is being described, that the soul is there in every body, and depending on the karma, the person gets different bodies. So now let's move on to the next slide. Radhe Radhe.
Sheila Didi, you want to?
Yeah, thank you. O intelligent lady, as the eyes require the sun to see a form, but the sun remains detached from the eyes and its sight. Similarly, the soul providing the energy to the senses remains different from the senses and its objects. There is no union or disunion of the soul with the body or its components. All the physical changes from birth to death are only to the physical body and not to the soul. Just like the waxing, waning of the moon is only a phase, with the moon maintaining its true self eternally. Again, death is only of the body and not of the soul. A person completely inert in sleep does experience pleasure, pain in his dreams, though it's not real, and is similar to a Jeev undergoing transmigration, taking the experience of the material body as real. Therefore, O Rukmini, O Lady of Wonderful Smiles, discard this grief coming from ignorance disturbing the senses, and realize the truth with transcendental knowledge and situate the self in bliss. Sukadevji continues, reassured with Balramji's words and wisdom, the beautiful Rukmini got calm and was in peace. Rukmi, with all his glories and pride smashed, brooding and resentful, got a separate residence built for himself in the city of Bhojkata. Firm in his mind, he vowed that he would not enter Kundinpura till he kills the evil-minded Krishna and recover Rukmini back. Nursing this grudge, he continued living in Bhojkata.
Right. So the story of how the war ends with Rukmi and how Rukmi doesn't return to Kundinpur. He builds his own house, builds a place in Bhojkat where he will reside because he has the belief that he will defeat Krishna. Now, serial slide number 14. Anyone else wants to read?
Yeah, I can go on. Defeating the enemies, arriving in Dwaraka, Sri Krishna then married Rukmini in a ritualistic spectacular ceremony. The happy Dwarikavasis, dressed in their best clothes with twinkling earrings, they all arrived gifting many huge presents for the exquisitely dressed groom Krishna and his bride. Decorating the entire Dwarika for the occasion, the city was sprinkled with the temporal juice of elephants, auspicious items placed all over, with the fragrance of continuously burning dhup and agar, and each doorway and arch welcoming with banana stems. The Kurus, the Sunjayas, the Kaikeyas, the Vidarbhas, the Yadus, the Kuntis all gathered and rejoiced to meet one another in this divine occasion. All who heard how Rukmini was carried off by Krishna were hugely astonished and amazed.
Right, so self-explanatory. Now let's go into 1054-60. द्वारकायमाभद्राजन् महामोद परोकसां रुक्मिन् या रम्यार्पेतं दृष्ट्वा कृष्णं श्रियः पतिम्. Translation: Great was the jubilation, O King Parikshit, among the citizens of Dwarka at the sight of Sri Krishna, the spouse of Shri, the goddess of beauty and prosperity, united in wedlock with Rukmini, who was no other than the said goddess Lakshmi. Shukdev ji concludes the chapter here with the glorious divine Rukmini Viva. So we have come to the end of the chapter, Rukmini Viva, and now let's move into the supplementary slides if there is any. Yeah. So there is a takeaway verse from Bhakti Shatak. Sarvashakti prakatya ho लीला विविध प्रकार राधे राधे विहरत परिकर संग जो तेहि भगवान पुकार राधे राधे जय राधे कृष्ण राधे कृष्ण राधे कृष्ण 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 राधे जय राधे जय कृष्ण राधे जय राधे जय कृष्ण. The aspect of the Supreme Personality referred to as Bhagwan is one in whom all powers are fully manifest. Bhagwan has innumerable names, forms, qualities, abodes, pastimes, and associates. Explanation: It has already been mentioned that Paramatma has names, form, and attributes. Sri Krishna possesses them too. But in addition to this, Sri Krishna engages in eternal pastimes with his associates. This is the speciality of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Besides, there is also a special sweetness in his form, qualities, etc. All the energies are fully manifested in this form. Although he manifests his complete majesty, yet it can never predominate over the intimate sweetness of love. The godly powers of Paramatma are independent, but those of Bhagwan actually serve secretly in Braj. There is so much intimate sweetness in this form that even Narayan and Mahalakshmi become irresistibly captivated. In fact, Mahalakshmi could not gain entrance to experience the sweetness of Maharas even after performing penance for billions of years. Besides complete majesty, sweetness, and effulgence, the best quality present in this form is subservience to devotees. Sri Krishna always considers himself to be human and not God. His friends and the gopis also consider him to be just an ordinary human being. Sri Krishna alone is the mainstay for Balram, for Brahm and Paramatma. He is the governor of this material world and the abodes of Paravyom and Golok. Shri Krishna had revealed his almighty form to Arjun, Yashoda, Brahma, etc. But the Rasik sense of Braj do not desire the majestic form. They only desire his sweet, loving form. Even the majestic pastimes of Sri Krishna are imbued with sweetness. For example, he danced on the expanded hood of the snake Kaliya after defeating it. The partially manifested form of Sri Krishna is Paramatma and his unmanifested form is Brahma. These three forms are manifested due to the different inclinations of a spiritual aspirants. If a person desires non-duality only, he worships Brahma. Rasik Sen sometimes use words of scorn in humor for Balram and Paramatma, but they do know that they too are forms of their beloved Krishna. There is only a difference of remarkability in sweetness, ras. Just as someone sees a ripe mango from a distance and another not only sees it but also smells it, and the third person sees, smells, and even tastes it. The mango is the same. In the same way, the experience of Brahma can be compared to seeing from a distance, that of Paramatma to seeing and smelling, and that of Bhagwan to seeing, smelling, and tasting. Just as sugar cane has three forms consisting of the same substance, jaggery, sugar, and rock candy. In the same way, one should accept that all three forms of the Supreme are in fact one. There is one point that needs to be noted. Brahma does not shower grace. Therefore, even a Jnani has to surrender to Sri Krishna in order to attain knowledge of Brahma. So the Bhagavad slok is Vadanti Tattva Vidas Tattvam Ajnanam Advyayam Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagwan iti Shabdete. The Lord has three manifestations. Brahm is not manifest, is all invisible without any actions. In Paramatma form is partially manifest, but in the Bhagwan form is completely manifest. Brahm is there in every particle of the universe. Paramatma is seated in the heart of every living being. And Bhagwan is the form of Sri Ram and Sri Krishna who appear in our midst. If we worship Sri Bhagwan, that's the highest form of worship, which is what Bhagavad Gita also explains. So with that, now we have come to an end of this chapter. I'll just take a couple of more minutes because I had posted one summary, which I think will be very apt to just repeat quickly. So in the Canto 10, chapter 54, what did we read? Krishna marries Rukmini, Rukmini Haran aftermath. This chapter describes the events after Krishna abducts Rukmini from the Swayamvar arranged by her brother Rukmi. After Krishna carries away Rukmini, many kings become furious. Rukmini's brother, is especially enraged. He vows not to return to Kundinapur unless he defeats Krishna and rescues Rukmini. With a large army, he chases Krishna. Meanwhile, Balram fights and defeats the other kings who try to stop Krishna. Rukmi catches up with Krishna and challenges him. During this battle, Rukmi insults Krishna repeatedly. He attacks with bows, arrows, swords, and other weapons. Krishna easily destroys all his weapons. Finally, Krishna defeats Rukmi and knocks him down. Krishna prepares to kill Rukmi. At this moment, Rukmini becomes extremely frightened. With folded hands, she falls at Krishna's feet. She pleads for mercy toward her brother. Her prayer shows humility, devotion, compassion. What are the key teachings from the chapter? Devotion. Rukmini's pure devotion protects even her brother. Pride. Rukmi's arrogance leads to humiliation. Compassion. Krishna spares Rukmi because of Rukmini. Philosophy. Balram teaches detachment from bodily relations. What is the one-line essence? Pride leads to humiliation, but devotion brings divine protection and mercy. So we are all the followers of Bhakti Marg, and we are so very fortunate to have just completed reading the most glorious Rukmini and Krishna Vivah. With that, we have come to an end of this session. So if there is any feedback or any comments, please let's open to the participants and then we can close. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Bhaiya, thank you so much for guiding us and reading through this chapter. Very, very nice topic of Krishna and Rukmini's marriage. And yeah, we're so fortunate.
Radhe Radhe Bhaiya. First of all, the bhajan was super special. I really liked that bhajan. And so the words are just unbelievably amazing. Thank you for that. Secondly, this chapter 54 is a well-known chapter in the Srimad Bhagavatam, but the essence of it, how you've put it in on the WhatsApp as well, that is the main essence of it, as far as I'm concerned. But a beautiful chapter, well explained, and thank you for the gist, the essence as well. Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Thank you very much for your beautiful words.
Okay, Bhaiya, let's close this today and then we'll
Okay.
carry on.
बोलिए श्रीमद सद्गुरु सरकार की जय,
Jai.
श्रीमद युगल सरकार की
Ki
जय,
Jai.
जय जय श्री
Shri
राधे,
Radhe.
जय
Jai
जय
Jai Shri Radhe.
जय
Jai
जय
Jai
श्री
Shri
राधे.
Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Jay Bhaiya, sorry, Anjan Bhaiya, you want to spend 2 minutes or later?
Later, Bhaiya.
Okay, okay.
Radhe.
Thanks.
Radhe.